Welcome. Scott here. Today I am bringing you another Black Clover mobile video. In this video, I will be covering on the upcoming story Mage, Dorothy Unsworth, Captain of the Coral Peacock. In general, Dorothy is a power attribute type debuffer. Her key roles involving reducing mobility, disarm, applying silence and her unique Nightmare debuff. Nightmare debuff can be applied by using her special. Nightmare debuff will trigger an additional debuff at the start of the unit's turn. The additional debuff inflicted by one of the following 5 random debuffs: Disarm level 5, Incapacitate level 5, Reduced all attack level 5, Reduced critical resistance level 5 and Reduced defense level 5. Level 5 is the highest grade of debuffs in Black Clover Mobile. The only downside is that these debuffs trigger a random. All her abilities are mainly single target. Her skill 1 will extend any active debuff. If the opponent has Nightmare debuff, she will inflict a reduced mobility debuff and extend the Nightmare debuff duration by a turn. Her skill 2 inflicts Disarm level 3 and critical rate reduction on the enemy for 2 turns. If you have her skill page, the skill will also inflict 60% reduced magic attack. Her special will have an 60% chance of inflicting the awesome Nightmare debuff along with silence for 2 turns. Her combo attack with her partner Mage will inflict reduced speed level 3 on the target. Her LR passive will allow her spread a random debuff type of the attack target to other enemies. Let's say the target has been inflicted with Nightmare, Disarm level 3 and Reduced defense level 5. If Dorothy attacked the target, one of the 3 debuffs will be spread to other targets on the battlefield. Her enhancement passives will greatly enhance her value for PvP content. At LR plus 2, if you attack an enemy afflicted with Nightmare debuff, Dorothy will gains a 20% increased mobility buff. At LR plus 5, at the start of the wave, she will inflict a buff block debuff on the enemy with the highest all attack for 1 turn. You won't be able to apply any generic buffs on the unit. However, any buffs trigger after the unit's turn end will be applied. For example, if Black Divider Asta gets to Desperate mode, he will still get extra turn buff if he kills the target, and assuming you have triggered the activation, you will still be able to apply to special buffs like Valkyrie Noel's Absolute Territory or even Vanessa's Invulnerability buff from her special. Generally, Dorothy is a very nice debuffer with a wide range of disruptive debuffs. Being able to upkeep her Nightmare debuff is important for her and forms a vital part for her kit. She can excel in both PvP and PvE content. Her debuff transfer, critical rate down along with her Nightmare debuff will make her viable option to be added to your roster. So should I pull for her? In my opinion, there isn't a general consensus on whether to pull for a unit. It really depends on whether you are a free-to-play or having a vast roster already. If your roster is lacking a debuffer with shutdown mechanics, Dorothy is really a good choice for this. Her Nightmare debuff can be abused to help boost score for world boss content and shut down opposition PvP team comps. She can inflict silence to prevent units from using their skill 2. She can extend debuffs and spread her debuffs to other enemies. Her skill page enhances her skill 2 to inflict 60% reduced magic attack. It also helped to improve her SP refill economy to allow her to use her special more often. Depending on the content you are tackling, you might even need to use her skill page and use other debuffer utility skill page. I will cover more on that when I going through her skill page options. For gears, she needs to get her turn fast so she can use her disruption debuffs on the desired targets. Like most supporters and debuffers, you can go for advanced speed gear set with 2 pieces of the advanced defense set. Likewise, if your party don't have a lot of damage mitigation utility or barrier protection, a HP set focus on advanced HP, advanced attack, and advanced defense will be preferred. In general, the key is to make Dorothy survive as long as possible. Most players will probably focus on targeting to get rid of her in PvP first before her debuffs start to causing nightmare and chaos for their fight. For her enhancement passives, she has a decent speed, but you want her to be fast so she continue inflicting her debuffs and extending her debuffs. Having buff block will give you a significant advantage for PvP fights. Before I proceed to talk about her kit, let me briefly explain the fundamentals of building a good team comp. In general, every good team comp needs a balanced set of characters playing their various roles. To be honest, bringing a full team of attacker mages won't get you to clear endgame content. Don't expect Dorothy to do a lot of damage with her skills. Her key utility is to disrupt your opposition with her reduced mobility, silence, and applying her crippling debuffs. To upgrade the skills, you need to use wool shards. Wool shards can be bought at the world regional shops monthly. If you upgrade your world reputation to level 2, you will unlock the option to buy the highest tier upgrade material. If you haven't done so, I will suggest you to start leveling up the reputation level by doing bond patrol or memory hall fights for that specific world. You can also get skills upgrade materials at your squad shop if you have joined a squad. You can buy them daily with guild medals or monthly with guild raid coins. So try to level up and join a guild. If you have spending power, you can buy skills enhancement chests at the premium Black Crystal shop. Now let me go through her skill set. All her skills are mainly single target. Her skill 1 Dream Magic Bullet is a single target attack which will extend any active debuffs on the target by a turn. If the target has been afflicted with Nightmare debuff, it will extend Nightmare debuff by a turn and inflicts 10% reduced mobility on the target. Upgrading the skill will improve its potencies and upgrade the reduced mobility effect to 20%. Her skill 2 Dream World is a single target attack that inflicts disarm level 3, and critical rate reduction level 2 for 2 turns. If you have her skill page, the ability will inflict 60% reduced magic attack for 2 turns. If the target was afflicted with Nightmare debuff, it will trigger Spread which will apply the disarm and critical rate reduction debuffs to other enemies on the field. Upgrading the skills improve its damage potencies. Her special magic Space World of Illusion is a single target attacking ability. The ability will have a 60% chance of inflicting Nightmare on the target for 2 turns. It will also apply Silence for 2 turns on the target. Silence will prevent the target from using their skill 2. Upgrade the skills will improve the damage potencies and activation rate of Nightmare. As having Nightmare constantly activated on the target is crucial to Dorothy's kit, it is highly recommended for you to max out the skill. As long as Nightmare is active, it will trigger the infliction of a level 5 debuff from one of the 5 debuffs shown on the left of the screen. Do take note that level 5 debuffs are the strongest in the game. Her combined attack is a single target attack with the partner Mage that inflicts reduced speed level 3 for 2 turns. Reduced speed level 3 will reduces the target speed by 55%. Upgrading the skill will improve the damage potencies. To make full use of Dorothy's kit, you need to ensure that you can constantly upkeep her Nightmare debuff on the target. With it being active on the enemy, you will be able to do a lot more with Dorothy. Now let's cover on her skill page. Dorothy's skill page is a skill page that benefits debuffers who relies on spamming her special. When she attack a target that has an active debuff, she has a 20% chance to grant herself a SP plus 1 buff. Upgrading the skill page to max enhancements will guarantee the trigger of her SP buff and you upgrade it to SP plus 3. Unless you are targeting the upper leagues and have big spending power, I won't recommend you to chase too hard for dupes of the skill page. You can end up hurting your resources to pull for the upcoming units. Her skill page is good to have for negating magic-focused attackers like Julius, Mirioliana, Swimsuit Noel, Hateful Fana, Ceremony Magna, and future units like Salamander Fuego Leon. Also, you don't need the max enhancements on skill page as long as you pair Dorothy with SP refiller mages like Ceremony Charlotte, Valkyrie Noel, and Party Mimosa. If you don't have her skill page, you can use other skill pages that boost her utility. For skill page replacement, you can also use generic skill page like the Moonlight Necklace to boost her own defense. You can also use SP reduction skill pages like Party Costume Noel or Nozel's skill page to further boost her disruption utility. As getting silenced will hamper Dorothy a lot, you can consider using the White Blizzard skill page, which has 40% chance of removing silence and total silence whenever Dorothy takes her turn. At max enhancements, the probability can be improved to 80%. Now let's cover on her talents. To understand what is the best talent settings, you need to know what is the mage's primary role. Dorothy is a shutdown debuffer. For her attack talent wheel, I would suggest giving her increased battle frenzy and increased magic attack. Increased magic attack will increase her attack stats by 7%. For the other talent, battle frenzy will be the better option since it allows her to gain 2.5% increased critical rate buff that could stack up to 5 times. For the talent carved stone, I would suggest you give her the accuracy talent stone to boost her survivability. For the defense talent wheel, I recommend you to go for the endurance defensive talent, which gives her 4% defense and 2% critical resistance, up to 5 times per wave, along with increased defense that boost her defense by 20%. For the carved stone, you will want to give her the defense talent carved stone. In the support talent wheel, you will have a wide variety of options like the ones shown on the screen. Increased damage resistance will result Dorothy to improve her damage resistance by 10%. Mage Blessing allows her to have a 20% chance of cool down her skill 2, which could allow her to apply her skill 2 faster. This will help a lot in ensuring Dorothy to be able to use her skill 2 constantly, upkeep her debuffs for negating attackers. If you want Dorothy to have faster access to apply her skill 2 debuffs, you will want to use the combination of increased damage resistance with Mage Blessing. As she is a PvP specialist mage, and deploying her with a total defense buffer like Clover Academy Charlotte, Fate of Thread Vanessa or Black Asta, the accuracy and penetration support talent and resolution support talent combo is good against opposition that uses Dorothy or any debuffer focused team comp. Penetration stats is good for handling enemies with high defenses. Whenever your mage attacks, a certain portion of the target's defense is ignored when damage is dealt based on the character's penetration stat. On the other hand, accuracy will helps to boost Dorothy's survivability as it allows her to have higher chance of damage reduction activation. Resolution is an arena-specific passive or when you are fighting a debuffer type PvE boss. With this passive, the mage will gain debuff immunity for a turn upon resisting damage successfully. To resist damage, you need to use total defense buff. For PvE content, you will want Dorothy to constantly spamming her special so you can trigger her potent level 5 debuffs when the PvE boss takes its turn. Thus giving her the swiftness talent will be very useful. You can further enhance the effect by equipping her with the Meticulous Tailor SP Refiller gear set or Insights to Hardship Debuffer gear set. Please note that using these gear sets comes with some penalties, which I will discuss it later when I going through her gear sets. For support engraved stone, I would recommend a speed stone since speed is crucial for PvP teams. You will also want Dorothy to be fast enough to reapply and extending her debuffs. Since you probably will rotate the talents based on the content that you are tackling and she could be your arena mainstay for a foreseeable future, it is advisable to max out both her support or defense talent wheels. Now let's focus on her gear sets. Generally, you want to target for advanced gear sets pieces. For PvE, you want to use the full advanced speed set with the small attack and defense piece from the advanced defense set. Being a debuffer, you want to have her applying her debuffs before your attackers act or apply those shutdown debuffs before your opponent mages act so you can reduce the incoming damage. As Dorothy's Nightmare can trigger the game's most potent level 5 debuff along with silence, you can improve her SP trigger occurrence by giving her gear that improves her SP refill economy or upgrade her skill page to max enhancements. Personally, I don't think it is worth it to max out her skill page since it will be probably better for you to save your enhancement dupes for mages who really need them, like the festival mages like Black Divider Asta, Mirioliana, Julius, and Spirit Dive Uno. You can use gear set like Meticulous Tailor gear and the debuffer gear set an Insight into Hardship. Equipping the meticulous Tailor gear set can allows her to gain up to additional SP, with the second SP being subject to 35% occurrence rate. However, do keep in mind in using the gear set, your skill 2 might get locked out due to the extended cooldown effects. If you have given the full set of debuffer gear, and insight into hardship, Dorothy will gain additional 3 SP whenever she takes her turn. However, she will be in constantly silence mode, which prevent her from using her skill 2. When using this gear set, you will probably be spamming her special for Nightmare debuff while extending it with her skill 1. With the introduction of Black Divider Asta, HP builds becomes a necessity for supporters and debuffer mages when you want to use them in PvP. Pairing with level 125 Transcendence bonuses, you can boost your mage's HP to above 200,000. If you have decent critical resistance and high enough HP pool, your mage can withstand the damage from Black Divider Asta special, thus breaking the chain of his kills. You can refer to the 2 gear sets on the right. The Nomad Jester gear set pieces can be very useful for Dorothy, since it will enhance her skill 1 to inflict 8% reduced damage dealt debuff on the target. This could come in clutch when you want negate your opponent's strongest attackers. For substats, you should prioritize on HP %, defense %, critical resistance %, accuracy and damage resistance substats. You can also further boost her survivability by equipping her defense or HP main stats accessories. You can also give her the advanced gear dungeon gear pieces like Snowfield Warrior gear pieces from Advanced Sense Gear Dungeon, or the Abandoned Friends gear pieces from the Gear Selection chest. Do consider using those sets only if those gear pieces are fully transcended. It is your utmost priority to ensure that Dorothy is tanky as possible so that she survive as long as possible. So what are the team comps that you can run with Dorothy? As Dorothy is another global first unit, we don't have past data showcasing her kit and usefulness in team comps. These are the team comps that I think it could work with her. Since she isn't a damage dealer, you need to use 1 or 2 of the key festival mages, Mirioliana, Valkyrie Noel, Black Asta, or Black Divider Asta. Next, you want to pair with SP refill utility like Valkyrie Noel, Party Mimosa, or Ceremony Charlotte. For Party Mimosa to be used for SP refill utility, she needs her LR+2 enhancements. With the introduction of Black Divider Asta into the meta, for a PvP team comp to be viable, you need have mages that have 2 of the following utility: invulnerability and immortality removal. I have listed down the mages that has these utility on the right. You can defend against Black Divider Asta team comp if you have build HP tanky setup featuring Black Asta, Witch Queen, Mirioliana, and Lotus. Dorothy can replace Lotus for the setup. In order for the setup to work, you need to have heavy investment on all 4 mages, and you will most probably need HP stats accessories along with level 125 Transcendence. To get HP accessories, you can try using the merge or design accessories feature via luck at the hideout. As these accessories are usually locked behind a paywall, please do take note the occurrence of you getting them is pretty slim. On the left, you have some team comps that I feel it could work against the current Black Divider Asta PvP meta. For team comps with Valkyrie Noel, you can go with Noel, Dorothy, an attacker mage and supporter mage that provides damage mitigation or invulnerability. The supporter mage can be either Ceremony Charlotte or Fate of Thread Vanessa. Fate of Thread Vanessa is a better option as her special provide 2-turn invulnerability to the designated target and combo can inflict immortality removal. The attacker mage can be one of the following mages: Third Iria, Black Divider Asta, or Spirit Dive Uno. Against non-Black Divider Asta team comps, the team comp of Mirioliana, Black Asta, Dorothy, and Witch Queen could also work. You can also use Grey and Mono Red team comp of Grey, Black Asta, Witch Queen, and Dorothy when you fighting a burn-oriented team comp like the Mono Green team with Mirioliana. With this, I have come to the end of the video. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to the channel so that I can bring you more content in the future. Have a nice day and bye.